So an asparagus plant is often called an asparagus fern. Now it's not a fern at all. It's actually more closely related to things like lilies and ginger and bamboo and grasses. So it grows from a central point. There's a fibrous root mass under here, and all the shoots come from here. So what you want to do is grow the asparagus in really rich soil. What we do is we add charcoal, we add cow manure, we add corn cobs, we add all sorts of organic matter. And you can't really overwork, can't overdo it for asparagus. I mean, you really once you plant it, it's going to be there for years and years and years. So it's really good to put in the effort. Lots of fertility building inputs, and then you'll get a lot of nice shoots like this for many years to come. These asparagus plants here, they're in their second year, and we're just starting to harvest some shoots. So we'll just have a look and see if we can find any. What have we got here? Here we go. So this one's still quite thin, but still tender. It's very good. So asparagus is a perennial crop. If you grow it in a cold climate, this will last for about 15 years. So you really have to put a lot of work into the bed to make it nice and fertile. I don't think anybody knows how long they last in the tropics, but I would assume that, as with most things, things last half as long as they do. The hotter you get, the shorter they last. So I'd say this, this bed comes into production faster than it would in a cold climate, but it won't last as long. So when it starts to decline in productivity, we will lift the plants, divide them up, like chop up the roots and make more plants and start a new bed. Yeah, tasty. Nothing at all like, you know, when you harvest asparagus and you buy it from the shop, it loses this flavor. Like raw, fresh asparagus or just lightly steamed, so much better. African moringa is Moringa stenopetala, and it's basically larger in every way. So it has much larger leaves, very large leaves. It has like a bottle-shaped trunk. It's much taller, the seeds are bigger, the seed pods are bigger, but the uses are exactly the same as Moringa oleifera. One of the benefits of this one is, see these big leaflets? You just separate them quite easily. When you're harvesting regular moringa, the leaflets are very, very small. And you have to sit there and you have to basically strip all the leaves off the stems, otherwise there's sort of twiggy bits, which are not very nice. With Moringa stenopetala, we can just pull the leaves off, so we can just run our fingers up the stem. And these leaves come off, and these are ready for cooking. With the smaller Indian moringa, the Moringa oleifera, you can't do that. You have to sit there, and it's more finicky. Now when these cook down, they're soft and chewy, just like regular moringa, very tasty. Here we have some butterfly pea, or bunga telang. This is growing on a living fence. So it's a legume, it's a butterfly, a legume, so it's really good for improving the soil. It's also good for feeding to cattle and goats and other ruminants. And it has this blue flower. Now, if we just pull off the end here and we dry this first, then we put it in some hot water and make a tea, it'll turn blue. And if we add a little bit of lemon juice, it'll turn pink, so it changes color with the pH. Now this is really good, especially for people with diabetes. This stops when you have too much sugar in your blood, it reacts with your red blood cells and damages them. It also damages other, parts of your internal workings. And there's compounds in this which help stop the sugar from attaching to the proteins in your blood. So it's very healthy tea. It's good for your eyesight. Basically, yeah, good for the system. You can eat it raw, or you can dry it, make it into a tea, or you can grind it up into a powder and mix it into baked goods. So for example, if you made rice and you put some of this in there, it could turn blue. And if you make a cake, like a white sponge cake or something, and you added some powdered bunga telang, it will turn blue. Now, it only works with things that are either pH neutral or alkaline. If it's acidic, it'll turn pink instead.
Ya, ini adalah bunga telang. di mana bisa kita pakai untuk menjadi teh. Ini untuk kita buat menjadi teh karena fungsinya atau manfaatnya sangat besar, yakni bisa menyedot racun-racun yang ada di dalam tubuh untuk bisa kita membuatnya menjadi teh. Ini kita celupkan aja di air hangat lalu kita minum.
Behind us is a bread nut tree, or in here it's called kulu, or in Bali called timbul, and I think in Java called klui. Now this is one of the ancestors of the breadfruit. The breadfruit is just like a seedless variety of this one. It's a hybrid between this species and another one in the Pacific. So this is like the ancestor species, and this has been on Tampa Hills for a very long time. It's probably one of the original crops people used to grow here. So it's rich in carbohydrate. It's you chop it up. It's a bit like an immature jackfruit, and you cook it in like coconut or in curry or something like that. And then the seeds, they boil up they taste like chestnut. So you can eat those as well. It's very tasty.
Dan ini adalah pohon sayur jangka panjang kami, di mana kami sudah mempunyai sayur jangka pendek, jangka menengah, dan jangka panjang. Dan ini namanya kuluh. Ini adalah bunga jantan, dalam arti bunga jantannya ini tidak bisa menjadi buah. Dan ini buahnya. Ini buahnya yang kami selalu panen untuk dimasak, baik secara masak kari, masak segala macam, semua enak. Ini adalah buah kuluh bahasa kami. Ya, dan pohonnya besar karena ini termasuk kategori jangka panjang. Jangka panjang karena pohonnya besar dan umurnya juga lama.
A really important perennial vegetable around the world is cassava. So we have the standard cassava. The type of cassava they grow in Indonesia is what they call a sweet cassava. So when you harvest the roots, you can just cook them and eat them. There's another type of cassava in the Amazon called bitter cassava. It's much bigger, but it contains a lot of cyanide, and so you have to grate the roots and then leach them, and yeah, it's a very involved process. But you know, it doesn't get attacked by as many pests. But anyway, cassava is still pretty tough here. Doesn't have many problems. Grows in infertile soil, not much water. It's a really good food security crop. So you always plant some cassava in the back corner, you know, because you can always pull it up and have a bit of a barbecue. You just roast them in the ashes, and yeah, it's a starchy food. Now there's another type of cassava. Now this one you can't eat the roots because it's way too full of cyanide. This is called ubi karet. This was originally grown for its sap, and they harvest like a type of rubber from it. So this is the regular cassava is Manihot esculenta, and this is Manihot glaziovii. So this comes from the dry areas of Brazil, and you can't eat the root, but the leaves are tasty. Big tasty leaves. Again, just like all cassava, it has a little bit of cyanide in it. So you always have to boil the leaves and then throw away the water, and the cyanide goes away with that, and then it's safe to eat. So this is a really popular vegetable for things like padang cooking, like when having a spicy curry and you have some of these leaves on the side. It's really tasty. So you can either use the standard cassava or ubi karet.
Dan ini adalah salah satu tanaman yang dimana disebut bahasa Indonesianya ada singkong atau ubi kayu. Bahkan kalau bahasa Lomboknya adalah Ambon Jawa. Ya, Ambon Jawa. Dan bedanya dengan ubi biasa, singkong biasa dengan singkong karet, dia punya daun berbeda. Daunnya untuk ubi karet dia daunnya lebih besar, tapi rasa untuk menjadi sayur sama enaknya. Dengan ubi karet sama ubi biasa.
I think we can easily say that the most important perennial vegetable in the world is chili. Now, for billions of people around the world, this is the main vegetable that they eat, and it's how they get their vitamin C and also provitamin A. So even poor people who, you know, don't buy a lot of vegetables, don't have the available income, they still eat a lot of chili. And And so
adalah salah satu tanaman khas untuk atau tanaman wajib untuk para ibu-ibu di dapur untuk bisa dimasak, namanya cabai. Kalau bahasa Lombok adalah sebia, ya bahasa Lomboknya sebia. In bahasa Jawa ini adalah Lombok. Jadi Lombok adalah cabai, ya sangat pedas dan wajib bagi para ibu-ibu untuk ada cabai ini di dapur.
another really good vegetable for the dry tropics is eggplant or aubergine. This is really popular in Lombok. This is a really good plant you plant it in the rainy season, and you know it's a perennial, so it'll last like a year or two, sometimes longer. And it can survive through the dry season because its root system is very good at extracting the moisture. So the kind of eggplant that's popular here is these sort of like long, sometimes longer than this, like the skinny ones rather than the fat ones. So there's these, the cultivated eggplant, and there's also a wild eggplant as well, which is really, really hardy, and that's bitter. And the locals have a way of preparing that to remove the bitterness so they can eat them. And that's super, super tough. That'll grow even like semi-desert conditions. So if you know how to prepare it, it's an available food source.
Ini salah satu tanaman sayur kami yang ya ini buah terong, tanaman jangka menengah untuk apa yang bisa kami panen dan kala jangka pendek atau jangka pendek sudah habis, berarti sayur kami untuk jangka menengah masih ada. Ini terong.
One of the perennial tree vegetables that we grow is turi, or in Lombok called kentujur. It's a legume tree, Sesbania grandiflora, and you can eat the leaves. Eat these leaves as a vegetable. In India it's called agati, and it's very, very high in like antioxidants and vitamin A. And then you can also eat the flowers, these flowers here. They come in two colors, either white or red. So what we do is we just pull off the green bit with the center, throw that away. And the bit that we eat is the petals. So you can eat this raw, or you put it in soups, or you cook it any way you like.
Ini adalah pohon turi yang semua petani mungkin harus menanam ini. Di samping bisa menjadi sayur, daunnya bisa dijadi sayur, bunganya juga jadi sayur, akarnya mengandung banyak unsur pupuk organik yang bisa menyuburkan tanah dan untuk memperbagus tanaman. Samping ini pohon turi juga bisa menjadi bahan bangunan. Seperti pohon ini kalau sudah besar, dia bisa untuk kita buat jadi bangunan. Di bagian saya di Lombok Timur, para petani menebang pohonnya jika sudah besar dan kemudian menaruhnya di bakau. Tujuannya supaya tidak dimakan rayap dan kayunya menjadi sangat kuat, bisa bertahan sampai bahkan sampai 10 tahun lebih bisa bertahan.
Now, sometimes inside the living fence we plant things like this chaya behind us, which is like a tree spinach. But then we also grow things on the fence, like we have dragon fruit growing in here. And then we have this Tonkin Jasmine, or Vietnamese jasmine, which has nice edible flowers. Sorry, Parman, bisa kasih bunga? So we have the flowers. Let's have a look here. There you go. So very pretty little flowers with a lovely like jasmine scent. Comes out more in the afternoon, and you can eat these whole. It's a sweet floral taste. In Vietnam, when I had them, they steam them and then give like a little bit of a soy sauce on top. It's really delicious. They cook them until they're just like al dente. So the same like when you cook broccoli, you don't want to overcook it. And it's got that little bit of the al dente bite to it. It's really tasty. There's a very, very rare plant in Indonesia, but easy to grow from cuttings. So we want to grow lots of this. Yum.
Ini adalah salah satu bunga yang kami budidaya di nursery kami, yakni bunga melati Vietnam yang ya kami tanam di pagar bersama dengan kami menanam ada naga yang akan segera berbuah, dan juga ada juga ini jarak sayur, yakni bisa dibuat menjadi sayur dan juga mungkin bisa jadi obat.
The next perennial vegetable that we really like is the wing bean, or in Java it's called kecapir. It's a perennial bean and it has these pretty blue flowers. Now, you can eat the flowers, you can eat the beans when they're young. You can also eat the leaves, so they're actually quite tender. So you can cook these up in stir fry or in vegetable. Yeah, so it tastes like peas. The flowers are quite sweet. And my friend the other day from Malaysia was telling me that they used to eat the shoots in stir fries. So yeah, these bits, yeah, and they're good. When they're young, you just want the young tips. They're nice and tender. So as you harvest these off the plants, it'll cause them to become more bushy and produce more. So yeah, so you've got the flowers, the seed pods, the shoots, the leaves, and also they have an edible root as well. So some varieties are better than others. We'll have to see about this one. But the good ones have like a, not quite like a potato, but like, yeah, just like a tuberous root that you can cook and eat. So that would kill the plant, but you just plant more. So you can, if you want to keep these growing for many years, they will. At least sort of 3 to 4 years, these will keep growing for. That's a very young pod. They get much bigger than this. But the idea is to keep harvesting them. Don't let them get big, because as soon as they get big, they get sort of more woody and tough. So you want to pick them at the young, almost like comparable to like the snow pea stage. And then you can eat them raw. You can stir fry them. You can basically any way you'd use like a snow pea. Good stuff.
Kenalkan, ini salah satu sayur khas Lombok, yakni namanya kecipir kalau bahasa Indonesia, dan bahasa Lombok botor. Ada juga bahasa Lomboknya pelisa, karena yang disebut pelisa kalau bahasa Lombok itu dia punya isi kayak ubi di dalam tanah, dia kayak ubi dan direbus itu sangat enak, rasanya seperti ubi. Dan ini adalah sayur pelisa ini sangat bagus untuk dikonsumsi untuk jadi sayur.